Okay. Is it weird being out of the element of like your own podcast and the control of all of that?
Well, I have a lot of help. I have a friend of mine in the States. His name's Denny, and he was the first podcast I was ever a guest on. And he kind of wanted to make it like a passion project of for himself to help Lyle and I create our own podcast.
Hmm.
So I technically have a producer, but he's showing me the ropes onto how to like actually do it all on my own. So he like can be like hands off. So I'm working on that. But I'm at the part where I can create my own like host my own episodes without, and then I just like hand it over to him and he like puts it all together.
That's amazing. That's the
Yeah.
hardest part is all the
Yeah.
background stuff. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I'm just gonna fangirl here for a second. I've been
Oh,
following you for years and years and years. And yeah, so this is truly an honor to be able to hold space today. I'm like, there's so many different things I want to dive into. And
yeah.
oh my gosh. I think of Bella all the time. Like I feel like I know you guys from following your story and just I'm also a nurse, and so all the medical mama stuff is just I'm amazed at what
Mm.
you did during her time here and continue to do. And so there's lots I want to ask you today.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
mean, an hour's not a long time. So I'm always like, I'm going to dive right in. But first and foremost, welcome to Beyond the Birth Story podcast.
Yeah, of course. I'm happy to be here, and I love I love being on this side of things. I love just answering questions. Like fire away.
Yeah,
It's easy.
amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. First, I'm going to give you a moment to just introduce yourself. Um, and I know a lot of our listeners already know who you are, but there's going to be some that this is the first time they're meeting you. So introduce yourself.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll try and introduce myself like I don't have 7 million followers on TikTok. Is that terrible?
No, not at
I'm like,
all.
okay, let's pretend because there's lots of people out there that I have so many friends and family that do not have social media, and I have to like remember that sometimes. Be like,
Yeah.
how would I introduce myself if someone has like no clue?
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking of the most significant things, that I grew up in Swift Current, Saskatchewan, and I still live here with my husband and my son Waylon, and we have an acreage and we run a tree farm. And I had my daughter Bella, my late daughter Bella, who just passed away just about a year ago. She passed away July last year. And I had her, she's my firstborn. And I had her after I'd been teaching for a while as a teacher by trade. And I had her, and then I went from teaching to full-time medical mom. And I had to give up my teaching career to live in hospital with her and go through everything that we need to go through for her rare conditions. And eventually that worked out to us being able to bring her home
Mhm.
and her go to school and her have fun with her friends and live an exciting life, because we never knew when we were going back to hospital. It happened quite a lot. And so through her 10 years of life, we were in and out of hospital a lot. And so she taught me how to be brave, and we learned together how to not take like the smallest moments, for granted, and just live
Mhm.
large. And she lived large. We lived like a rock star lifestyle on the fly, but to hospitals instead of stadiums.
Yes.
And I went from being a wife to a medical, from teacher to wife to medical mom, now bereaved mom, and holding extra tight onto my 6-year-old son Waylon. And yeah, that's kind of like a brief little tidbit about me, apart from my giant social media that I've I've kept from all of you listening so far. Everyone's like, "Wait, what about 7 million followers? Who?
Right?
What?"
Just hold up there. TikTok is such a funny world and
So
social
weird.
media in general because you're like, oh no, I know these people. But you're like,
Right?
no, I don't know them from a hole in the ground. Like,
Yeah.
but you do, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and it all comes down to just being a wholesome woman, mom, wife, teacher, like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just, your life is out there,
Yeah.
which is its own little crazy world as well when you're just putting everything out there, right? I'm going to take it back to the beginning to your
Yeah.
pregnancy with Bella.
Yeah.
Is this when you found out about her many conditions, or was it upon delivery? What did that kind of look like?
From start to finish, we it was really different. I didn't know. I didn't think we knew about her first condition, which was her bowel disease, which was Hirschsprung's, until she was 3 days old. So we hadn't left the hospital yet. And but as soon as she was born, um, the pediatrician and my husband, so I had emergency C-section with her, so they kind of took her away right away. And so my husband really held the weight of that pediatrician saying, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. And he never unloaded that on me. He let me have, that new mom bliss, trying to feed my daughter in the hospital, not knowing anything was wrong. And he kept that inside for a while. I feel heartbroken over how much he was holding in just to see me in those first couple of days, just my first couple of days as mom, not knowing anything was issue with my baby. And she was like, for me, she seemed kind of regular, like 6 pounds 11 ounces. And I didn't know she was tiny. I didn't notice she had dwarfism. None of us had any idea she had uh fatal condition
Mhm.
called two, basically. Like her bowel disease is ultimately what led to her going into bowel failure and needing a bowel transplant. And then apart from that, she was also born with no immune system. None of us knew that. And the only thing my husband knew when that pediatrician took him aside after they were stitching me up was um, that she looked tinier, because they had her all unwrapped and like looking at her, and she had like her thumb was kind of flush with her forearm, so it got stuck in utero, and so she had some muscle and nerve damage. So we called it her little wing. She kind of always had her little right hand tucked in, kind of like a little wing, and it took her a lot of physio and a lot of time to get that stretched out. She was tiny, of course she had dwarfism, but we didn't actually get everything all fully understood from genetics until she was 2 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, so the first couple days in hospital, in our local hospital, I had her. She was breastfeeding, she was drinking the bottle, she was doing it all. And uh, at 3 days, it was okay. We started to learn that her abdomen was expanding and she hadn't pooped yet. And this is when they got really scared, because then she also started to vomit. And they were like, this is not good. Like, we need to air ambulance her to RUH at the time, because we didn't have a children's hospital. So it was RUH in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. And she had her first bowel surgery at 3 days old. And we found out she had Hirschsprung's. Yeah, so, and it wasn't until quite a while later, because from there we spent 2 years in hospital straight, learning and coming to know all the conditions she was born with, because we didn't know um, at all when she was
Mhm.
born. Yeah,
How was navigating all of that as like a first time mom? Were like, you're so naive when you go into that,
yeah,
and
yeah.
you're just, yeah, I'm just gonna have my baby and it's gonna be great. And
Thankfully, I was, um, thankfully I was the type of person that I didn't have a strict birth plan. I didn't have like a midwife. I was like, um, okay, we're gonna go to the hospital. We're gonna see what happens. Like,
yeah.
I was very like, okay, well, I'm in a safe space. Like, if I give birth naturally, great. If they need to cut me open, great, just whatever keeps me alive, keeps the baby alive.
Yes.
So I wasn't hung up on anything. Um, I was just really, really, really excited to be a mom. And we didn't find out she was a girl until after she was born. So I like labor started like kind of like tickety boo normal. Like my water broke at like 2 in the morning, and then contractions just kind of went as they, I guess, normally do. Like they
Mm-hmm.
increased, and then I gave it a try, but I never got past 6 centimeters, I guess. And then I got a fever. Like I started getting infection because I didn't actually realize my water never really broke. It leaked for a while. And then that wrist infection, and I started getting a fever, and they were like, okay, you're not progressing. So we're going to do C-section. And that all went great. Like I healed good. That all went really, really good. And I got to hold Bella right after, and then dive into motherhood. And she, the first day was great. Like she latched right away. I was like, oh, I got a little baby girl. She's
Mm-hmm.
eating and taking the bottle, and the nurses would feed her and then let me rest. And then she latched right away. So things were just kind of like great. And then, um, the drugs from an emergency C-section though, like I had never felt so out of it for
Mm-hmm.
so long. And I only know that in comparison to my son, who was a planned C-section. So I didn't have 36 hours of labor and an emergency C-section. So it was a lot different with him. And I'm looking back, I'm like, holy, like hit by a train. So it
Mm-hmm.
seemed like, as happy as I was with how I thought my baby was doing and things were going, I was really quite out of it. And it was kind of a blur that way. And then poop hit the fan really fast, and we were in an air ambulance and on our way to surgery for my 3-day old. So I
And
don't
that
really.
was in Regina.
No,
Saskatoon.
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 Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, I think I probably had about 2.5 days before of being a mom to being a medical mom, and
Mm-hmm.
then had to learn the ropes really fast.
So were you stationed in Saskatoon for quite a while with her? Was that kind of
Yeah.
your main hospital? Because I know you went to
Yeah.
Toronto at some point, but was that way later on?
Yeah, we were actually in Calgary. Calgary was our primary, because
Okay.
Saskatchewan, we didn't have a children's hospital in Saskatchewan when Bella was born in 2013. It's funny because when she was born, they were just started building it. Um, and we didn't have a GI specialist, nothing. We had a surgeon who was well versed with Hirschsprungs, and had thought at 3 days old when we sent her in for her first surgery, he had thought, like, if you don't know what Hirschsprungs is, it's like a dead piece of your colon, like the end of your bowel.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a blockage. So you can't poop. That causes problems. And he was like, seen this before. We're going to go in. We're going to take a piece out. She's going to have a little ostomy for a while. She's going to heal. And then we're going to bring her back, and the ostomy is going to go away, and things are going to be normal and fine, and we'll send you home. We're like, oh, okay. Little did we know she had no immune system, and long segment Hirschsprungs, which was going to ultimately lead to bowel failure. And there would be 30 more surgeries she would have to endure. And 6 of them being major bowel surgeries, a transplant, a bone marrow transplant, and 4 sepsis attacks.
Mm.
So it was, yeah, we had an outlook, a real positive outlook that first surgery, and was really confident, and our surgeon was really confident. And then basically that just uh was like a mean trick that happened over and over and over again every couple of months. She'd come out of surgery, she'd never fully get better. They'd take her back in. Oh, it must have been scar tissue. Oh, nope, there was more of the bowel that was affected. Then she'd take her back out, time to heal. She never really fully healed. Always
Mm-hmm.
vomiting, always vomiting, always sick. And it wasn't just her bowels. But we didn't know until she was 11 months old that it was also the fact that she wasn't born with an immune system or the ability to fight the common cold. Um, and so
And
then that,
do they know why she wasn't?
yeah. So She was born with severe combined immune deficiency, and for short, we call it SCID. And at the time, our province didn't have newborn SCID screening. We do now. And lots, like I think every state in the US does, and I think almost every province in Canada does now. But if she'd been screened at birth, it would have saved us a year in hospital, and she would have been fast tracked to a bone marrow transplant, which is the treatment. So when you're born with SCID, you don't have T cells or B cells. Bella had 0 infection fighters, 0 virus fighters. And I've had all of her specialists tell me they were like absolute miracle that not only she survived bowel surgery, which is like, no wonder you have sepsis when you're exposing the stool in your body to your bloodstream through surgery of the bowel. Not only did she survive 4 of those surgeries, but she also survived a sepsis attack before we even knew she had SCID. And that was at 11 months old. And then if we like fast forward, genetics in Saskatchewan, Alberta, they realized later on that my husband and I were both we both were carriers like of a recessive gene. So ultimately the why she had SCID, why she had Hirschsprung's, why she had dwarfism was a spontaneous gene mutation, because we were both carriers of this gene.
Which you wouldn't know until something like this happens, right?
Yeah. And it's not in any of our families' history. We're not related, nothing. It's just, we're the first. And we just happened to meet, fall in love, and get married and have children, not knowing we both had this gene that could cause this.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was that like after all of her diagnosis, did you have to do screening, your husband and yourself, to find that out, that you
Yeah,
both
there
were
was a
carriers?
lot of blood work between myself and Lyle and Bella.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Genetics worked with us on all that. And so, we didn't know the full extent of all of her conditions until she was 2. It took that long. Yeah. Just even to find out, because there was no newborn SCID screening, which is like a heel poke of blood. The way we found that out was, and like, I mean, it's a miracle we found out when she did. It's a miracle she survived because she had no immune system. So had we, given her any sort of live vaccines or something, I mean, I don't know what's more life-threatening than sepsis, but she survived it. And they told me that's just unheard of. They don't know anyone that survived sepsis without an immune system. Like, they literally told me, medical professionals told me it was a miracle.
She had stuff to do.
Yeah,
She had to
yeah,
keep trucking.
yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
So, we didn't know the full extent of everything for 2 years. SCID when she was 11 months old, and then she got set up for a bone marrow transplant, which is to treat people. Like, you'll know, some people might know, like kids going through cancer have to get a bone marrow transplant, and it's like a reset. But with kids with SCID, it's they don't have an immune system, so you're wiping out everything that's in there, messing things up. Basically, it's kind of like she had weeds, and we needed the bone marrow transplant and the chemo treatment to kind of go in there, like round up, clear it all out, and then leave a blank space for her donor's marrow to take basically. And her marrow donor was from Germany, or is from Germany. A nurse and a mom from Germany. That was a 10 out of 10 match for her. And she had that when she was 15 months old. But we were in hospital the entire time trying to figure out her bowels, learning about that, surgeries, biopsies, everything you can think of, trauma. And then, when she was 11 months old, it was like, okay, we're switching gears. She needs a bone marrow transplant to survive. So they looked for a donor, found one within a couple months. She had her, bone marrow transplant. In this case, I was told, and the way it really was, you're bringing her as close to death as possible and then giving her new life. They had to do this 8 days of chemo regimen to wipe out everything, because if everything's not completely gone for her immune system, the new one can't come in.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very, very scary. So like 2 days before her bone marrow transplant, she went septic again and we almost lost her. And she made it through miraculously, and had some complications after, remained immune compromised, of course. And then once that dust settled from that, we were able to carry on treating her bowels and working with them.
How this oh my gosh. As a mom, and like you take on this responsibility to protect your children, and how was it trying to make the decision to do the next procedure? Like, was it a no-brainer for you? Were you like, yep, that's what's gonna, like, that's just what we have to do? Or was there ever a time where you were like, do we do this? Like, these decisions are so big, and this is nothing compared to it, but even in the NICU when my son needed a PICC line, I was sobbing. What do you mean a PICC line? Like, okay, I guess, like, you have to give that permission. Like, how was that on your mom heart, like, making those decisions?
It's crazy. I've never been asked that, and it's interesting to think about, because I'll never forget the first time we took her into surgery. She was 3 days old, and I remember this. I have a strong faith background, and I refused to think negative. You take the scariest situation. You're handing your baby over to someone who's literally going to cut them open and hopefully fix them, give them a central line, and you're learning all these things for the newest time. And I think for a typical person, that is terrifying. It is terrifying. But I, by the grace of God, refuse to let my mind go negative, because I said, no, my baby's she's strong. She's going to come out of this. I am not going to think about my child not making it.
Yeah.
And I just almost like permanently stamped that in my brain, and I refused to let myself think anything else. And to the point where I would speak it. I would only speak what I wanted to have happen. I would say, she's going to make it out of this surgery. This surgery is going to help her. This surgeon is going to be able to do something successful, help her. Nothing is going to go wrong. I would refuse to even verbally let myself worry, even though I think inside my body it was chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Is it
and
powerful how our words and our mind can
yeah,
impact a situation?
yeah, yeah. And there was so much fear, and I was like, no way, I'm not letting this take over. There's absolutely no way. And so when decisions had to come like that, I was like, I would be face to face with medical professionals every day,
Mm-hmm.
having these discussions with them every day, because we never got to go home, because she had the most rare form of each condition, and every specialist and their dog around the world was trying to help her, right? Um, we learned very quickly we needed to go outside of Saskatchewan to find the people to help her that were in California, Calgary, England, the UK, Toronto, because her combination had never been seen before.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like miracle after miracle. And so when I would have these discussions with these medical professionals, I wasn't Googling it. I wasn't trying to learn it all on my own. I took what they were saying to me, and I had conversations with them, and I was like, okay, this is what needs to happen. Explain to me why. And I just felt confident with their answers, aside from also telling myself, we're not going to go down a negative road.
Mm-hmm. Out of 7 million people, no one's ever asked you how your mom heart handles your decisions.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, Waylon, what? Okay, well, I don't need to. Sorry.
That's okay.
No, you see upstairs. Where's Daddy? Is he helping?
No, he went in the workshop back to work.
Okay, well, let Mommy finish her chat. You stay upstairs. That goes in the garbage. Love you. Close the door.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Oh, Waylon.
His little voice.
Little turkey.
He's 6, you said?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So
Yeah.
Bella was 4 when he was born. How
Yeah.
did
Yeah.
you I'm going like off another road now, but
Yeah.
how did you decide to try again in all of this?
Well, so Bella was 4, just turning 5 when he was born. And so like when we had her and we had that 2 years of figuring out everything that like all the reasons why basically Bella was born with the condition she was, we had thought we had some serious thinking to do about how to have another child safely. I knew in my heart I wanted to not only like my husband and I wanted to grow our family, but I wanted her to have another sibling because knowing at this point, like 2 years in hospital, how lonely that was, um, knowing what kind of life might lie ahead for a medical kiddo, I was like, I need to give her a sibling. I don't want her to be lonely, and I don't want the rest of the world just her having to deal with all their questions. I want to give her, you know, a sibling, someone who gets it, someone who understands, someone who can be with us. And we had talked to our geneticists about that, and because we had 2 options, we realized there's a 1 in 4 chance our next child, if we were to risk it naturally, a 1 in 4 chance meant we were risking this life, this medical life, this scary fatal condition of skid, possibly causing our next child to go through another hospital life and the trauma that Bella had already been through. And we found out that if we were to risk that naturally, we wouldn't find out if they were affected until they had a heartbeat. And so the only way to, as we wanted to like have a child safely and not risk living in hospital and putting them through trauma, you had to go down the pre-genetic diagnosis IVF route.
Okay.
Because we just couldn't, we didn't, number one, we didn't want to have our next child like risk putting them through that trauma and that life-threatening illness, and not, there's no way we could find out we're pregnant and then terminate the pregnancy. So we were like, okay, we're gonna go over this, every option we can, figure this out. Okay, this is the route we want to go. Okay, we got to start saving because that's going to be costly.
Oh, that's another thing, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. And so that's how we had Waylon. And so we also found out, it's crazy. So we did the PGD IVF, and I had exactly the exact one was fully affected and the rest were carriers that were viable. And so I ended up with 3 healthy embryos, and Waylon was the first, and the other 2 we tried and they resulted in miscarriages.
Okay. And that was after Waylon?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And now he's just perfect.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And Bella
How-
had when we were ready to pull the trigger on that, I mean, it took about a year to go through that whole process. And then, we always question like, okay, well, what if this happens? What if we go back in the hospital and this and that and the other thing? And it's like, you know what, if we just don't do it now, like Bella had lots of good years and months at home. And she had an amazing, I think out of her 10 years, it was the healthiest and most like least stressful year was her like kindergarten year when Waylon was born. Yeah. So it worked out really good.
She had to be a big sister.
Yeah. Yeah.
How did Waylon adapt to a medical life? Like, was that, I guess he doesn't know anything different.
Yeah.
However, that would still, play a huge factor in any little
Yeah.
kiddo's life.
Yeah. He was, born right into it. So he was just aware of all of her devices. And it was funny because Bella had IV lines that we would run at home. She had a tubey line. Like sometimes she needed like tubes from her belly with her G tube. She had her IV in her arm or her chest. She had her ostomy. We had lots of medical supplies around the house, and lots of people are like, aren't you scared he's going to like wreck something or pull a line or this? And I'm like, No, it's all he knows.
Yep.
He knows that from a baby, from crawling to standing to walking, he understood how to operate around those medical, you know, devices and things to keep his sister safe too. And I'm so thankful that he has that knowledge. He has that awareness. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be a big benefit to him in life when he learns or has friends or has a career in the medical field or anyone under that understanding he can offer to those people that have those
Mm-hmm.
in their
Yeah.
life. Yeah.
Such a significant part for so many
Yeah.
years, right?
Yeah.
Um, as Bella got older, and I know she was an absolute powerhouse, but how did she manage all of the hospital stays and the surgeries and the pokes and the all like never knowing kind of what was around the corner?
She handled it way better than I did. But I mean it was all she knew from birth.
Hmm.
She had such a unique, lots of people are like, "Oh my gosh, like you spent the first 2 years of your life in hospital." And there is some teeny bit of blessing in disguise in there because she never knew the fear of going to hospital. She lived there. It's where
Hmm.
she was born. That's where she stayed. It's where she grew up. And seeing,
What a thought,
yeah,
hey?
seeing the
Oh,
10 to 15 adults a day come and talk to your mom. I mean, you don't get that. You're a first time mom. You're at home alone with your baby. You're just trying to get to the mom group once a week. Where
literally, like,
she,
have I brushed
right?
my teeth?
Right?
Like,
And you're the baby just hanging out by yourself in the living room. Whereas
yeah,
she spent the first 2 months of her life in the NICU, right by the door. She had people coming and going, adults talking over top of her tiny little body for, you know, I remember she's so expressive and so vocal. Our SLPs and OTs and PTs were so intrigued by her because her cognitive intelligence was like awesome. I always brag about that. I brag about to her. I'm like, don't don't let this go
yes.
to your head, but you are freaking smart. I remember them telling me her recessive and expressive scored like 96 when she was like 10 months old, 11 months old. Like and I mean, she had people talking all around her, adults talking all around her in hospital. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy to think about? Because I know,
Don't need to.
yeah, 90% of the time when my infant's there is a blob. I'm like,
Yeah.
should I read to you? Like, is this kind of weird? But it's so true. Like, they're little sponges right from the beginning.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
so
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay, just wait.
okay, so July, how are you feeling coming up into that month?
It's my husband and I have had this conversation so much because, honey, no more interrupt. Mommy's trying to talk and answer questions. Can you go upstairs? Wait till I'm done. Yeah, please go. Please let me so I can concentrate.
I wanna go like pink one.
Can you just wait till I'm done, though? Okay.
Oh.
I'm just gonna text Dad. Okay, go upstairs. No, that's not where the camera is.
Hi, Waylon.
Hi.
Okay, go. Mommy wants to finish. Okay. Close the door. Okay. Sorry. Okay.
Story of my life. Mine are running across the window. So if I look, I'm like, what are you doing?
Oh.
I'm like,
Oh.
mom life.
Yeah, mom life. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, you and Lyle have
Yeah.
talked about July coming up
Yeah.
faster than we can.
It is. We're very aware, and we talk constantly, like through our podcast, and it's really been really like therapeutic for us. And so it's almost like we've had this conversation because we've been really anticipating that pain. And the way I've talked about it is I've told them I'm really scared because of the physical pain that I endured, that day and the week passing, from Bella's passing. Sweetheart, mommy's really trying to talk.
But I want to paint another car.
I know, but you have to wait until I'm done, please. I'm trying to finish the conversation.
Fine.
Okay, no more interrupting. Because then I lose my train of thought.
Okay.
So we're just, we're talking about it a lot, and we're in grief, like, counseling, and we're just trying to build our toolbox for that time. And we've had a lot of friends really reach out, kind of anticipating it with us. And we just find so much comfort in that and their concern. And they want to be there for us. And whether they just want to know, like, can we plan something? Can we help be around that day? Do you want to be alone that day? And I think for me, it's I've never liked being alone in all circumstances, and I'm anticipating being a puddle on the floor. There's already days leading up to it. There's a lot of things I'm struggling with mentally, just thinking about like the memories of the week and the couple of weeks before she passed away are just so strong right now. And so it's bringing back a lot of that physical pain, and the anticipation of that is scary. And so we're just trying to, grasp at tools for our toolbox to help us through that day as it gets closer.
Yeah, the day
Yeah.
is always heavy. The whole
Yeah.
month, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we always feel it down to the fiber of our being. Have you and Lyle been able to grieve together, or has it been like, do you have very different grief cycles, different perspectives? Like, that's something that we struggle with a lot in our house, is like two different types of people trying to, and two very different experiences, right?
Yeah. It's been interesting to see how, like, we grieve together, and I'm so freaking thankful that he was able to have time off work. I just constantly think about the people, the bereaved parents that don't get that, or just the hard situations people have to continue through while they're grieving. And I just feel like, holy crap, I am able to have my husband with me. I can't imagine having to do this alone. And so we found too, through being able to be with each other and grieving, and that there's some days we really learned a lot about each other's grief. There's some days where it's so heavy, and he has the energy to help me, and where I don't have the energy to help myself. And then it's just like, by the grace of God, that'll switch and that'll shift. And some days he can't pick himself up off the floor, but I have the energy to help him with that. And I don't know how or why, what makes that combo happen, but thankfully we have each other to do that. And the days just, they blend together. When one of us is having a real hard time, the other one is there with the energy to help.
I think that's so, so, so important, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was just talking to another bereaved mom about this the other day, and saying, like, when you can't figure out how to do that, do the 70-30 or the 50-50 or the 100-0 some days, right? It's like, it does create like this invisible wall. And it's like, well, like, it's over us all the time, like this big umbrella, whether we're out here laughing or a puddle on the floor and can't get up, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it just makes the entire process so much harder.
Well,
Um,
even to just have that someone who understands that the guilt when you are out and laughing, or you're just out of the house, and the guilt that comes with that. And then the same person understands the weight you feel as soon as you get home. But it's not like you can, when you're out with your friends, or you're out with whoever's out there that hasn't had the loss that you've had, it's not like you're going to sit there and be like, oh, don't worry, I'm going to be a puddle on the floor when I get home. I'm not going to want to be alive. I'm not going to want to see anybody or talk to anybody, but I can smile right now because I'm distracted. And it's so hard. You want to shout that at the top of your lungs, but it's like you're so numb. You're like, this is just going to catch up with me later. So I'm
Yeah.
going to swallow it. I'm going to put it behind me and I'm going to put a smile on and just know it's going to catch up with me later. And there's nothing I can do. But in my case, at least I freaking have like, I have a husband to like hold on to hang on to. And some people don't have that. And my heart feels for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, the I remember, I can tell you exactly what I was wearing this day, exactly what my NICU room looked like when you posted that you were back in the hospital and asking for prayers. And I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
oh my God. And then the next post was, yeah, that she had passed. I'm going to get emotional. Like, I feel like I don't even know you. And I was a mess in my room. And even my nurse was like, what happened? I'm like, I'm one of the 7 million. Like, it's, what did that week or those days leading up to that look like?
Yeah, it was oh, it was really hard because um I when you're a hopeful person and we live 10 years of a medical life,
Mhm.
you're just I learned how to grasp hope and I wasn't letting go.
Mhm.
And so it was kind of like, you're holding on to a lifeline, your daughter, and someone's prying your fingers off because it's like you're all you know is holding on to hope, but you literally have to let them pry your fingers off because there's nothing you can do. And that's just the pain that is so hard to describe unless you've lost your child. um you're not gonna let go. Someone's gonna have to pull you off of them, basically,
Yeah.
right? And it's like that. When I was asking for prayers, it was like someone prying that, you know because for so long I was like, I'm not that it's toxic positivity, but it's what I believed for so long was hope. I believed in her making it through like she always did.
Mhm.
I saw the miracles that were her life and I didn't want to think that it could go the other way. And I just didn't want to even think that I might lose her. So it was just getting really, really hard to talk that way,
Mhm.
to express that way. But I have and had and still like have so many people that care about her and us. And there was also no way that I could just sit alone and deal with this heaviness, because I knew there was a world out there that loved my daughter and cared about my daughter, and I wanted their prayers, their understanding, and I wanted them to be able to fully understand what was going on. Um so as hard as it was to let everyone know, like, step by step, um everyone there it's like a family for me. I mean, a lot of people say like online family, digital family, and it's the truth. Like, the love that you feel from that type of community when you've lived like a medical life, um it's undescribable, and it really means a lot to me.
Do you
Yeah.
ever like what was kind of like the decision to start sharing this journey? Like, is there any ever
Yeah.
regret of putting it all out there, or was it one of like the best things that you did? And I can't thank you enough for sharing Bella with us because she was truly, I just see her dancing like and laughing, in all of your videos. Like, but
Yeah.
how was that decision for you?
It really grew from right when, our first like month or so in hospital, when I realized I don't get to go home. How am I going? This is lonely. I'm spending 16 to 24 hours beside my daughter's hospital crib, not able to eat or sleep, not able to go home.
Hmm.
So I don't get to see my family. She's immune compromised for so much of it. There was times where I couldn't let my own mom and dad, her grandma and grandpa, come and see her. Around bone marrow transplant, it was like if Lal and I were to even get sick, we couldn't come in the room.
Hmm.
it was a life of isolation. And so starting my blog was a way that I could, let all my family and friends back home know what was going on without trying to field 50, 20, 10 texts a day, or phone calls. I was like, I can't do that. But also I want the prayer, I want the help, I want the understanding. We're going through so much that nobody's seen before. How can I feel this information? Plus, I'm a teacher, so I really wanted people to understand and learn. And so I guess to start with, it's like, communication with friends and family back home because we lived in hospital so long. And Bella had so many rare things happening. I had to blog, I had to write, I had to create Facebook posts about it because I was learning too. So for me to be able to explain this, I really needed to understand it just to be able to like write a summary. So I got really good at writing. And so it was really just a form of communication with all of our loved ones at the start. And then as I learned more about Bella and what she would face in her life medically, and trying to think like a mom and like a teacher, like I don't want her leaving this hospital when she finally gets the chance to live a life with friends, birthday parties, school, adventure, traveling. I don't want her to have to go into a world that's just questioning her, a world that doesn't understand her or what she's been through. And so I really wanted my social media to help teach this world that I would eventually have to let my daughter live in, right? We had to, like I was hopeful, we're getting out of this hospital. You're going to go to kindergarten. And she did. Like, you're going to go to daycare. You're going to have a friend sleep over. You're going to get to go home for the first time, like walk the mall, like, you know what I mean? And I just I didn't want her to have to field questions either, because I knew how stressful that was. And I wanted her to have confidence because I knew she had to live a medical life.
Yeah.
And so I found social media as a way to really educate everyone else and then keep my family updated. And that just really helped me become a much better writer. And then as, social media grows, I learned how to be a really good videographer too.
Yeah, no kidding.
You know what I mean? Take pictures and then learn these new things. And then eventually, Bella really took to that. And I told her, I was like, we are using these platforms to educate people and to help other kids like you in hospital. Do you want to help me with that? And so I taught her from a very early age, like, that's what this is for. Because I also, as a teacher, I'm like, I know the dark side of the internet. I know how, like, bad this can be, really, like, people can be taken advantage of. And I'm like, no, we're going to be advocates.
Yeah.
And that's the purpose of social media. I wanted her to have a positive outlook on social media, especially if I was using it for information and communication. I never wanted her to not understand it. I was like, I want to give her a solid understanding so that she can use this as a tool and that it doesn't work against her. And she really took to it right away.
Apart you could tell she was a star. Oh, Are you kidding me?
Apart from just having fun with it, she's like editor, director, like if I could go back and go through all of the TikTok videos that we created together, it's like she directed and edited so many of them. And like, thank goodness we were like, just this like humble Canadian, like mom and daughter, we just did it for fun. Whereas like a lot of people don't understand, like in the States, like we don't get paid to make TikToks in Canada like they do in the States, right? Like we legit did this for fun. And with like, and then we just got good at it because we did it all the time. But like for Bella and I, my Instagram, my Facebook, my blog, that was like information communication and really like a therapeutic journal tool. TikTok's so funny. It started with two really good stories. It started with me seeing a friend who both and I were just kind of like older, millennials, like, oh, not another app. And then well, if she can do it, I can do it kind of thing, right?
Yes.
And then apart from that, it was like, it was Bella and I would just, it was our comedy. It was where we
Mhm.
would howl and belly laugh watching crazy cat videos. Like my TikTok algorithms, like animals and cats. And like, it's just like funny, you know, we could sit down and she'd be like, Mom, can we scroll TikTok? And we'd sit down and we'd be howling. And
Oh,
then
it's
that turned
so
in,
good.
oh, like the comedy, like it was the
And
best.
laughter is such a method of
Oh,
healing. Like, are you
yeah.
kidding?
Yes. Like,
Feels so good.
yeah, don't like TikTok is so freaking funny and so we would just sit down and laugh and laugh and laugh, right? Because it was so fun and that turned into Bella being like, I want to do that. I want to do this funny. And a lot more of our TikToks were like, we didn't do a lot of dances. I wasn't very coordinated. We tried, but most of it was like funny skits or like funny
Yes.
little trends is what we love to do. The ones that made us laugh, we try and recreate those
Mm.
or make
Well,
our own.
they made me laugh, I'll tell you that.
Good.
um, couple more questions.
Yeah.
How was like the transition from medical mom, that's basically all you knew for 10 years,
Yeah.
to bereaved mom?
Yeah. I I find it really hard to let go of my medical mom title.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say I'm a medical mom forever. I still advocate for medical families and I want to carry that. I want to carry my daughter Bella's legacy on that way and
Yes.
continue. She taught me, like, she was an advocate for so many children's hospitals, Make-A-Wish, Ronald McDonald House, Kids in Hospital. Um I want to carry that on for her. And so it's like, okay, Kyla, you're not gonna never be a medical mom again because that's in your advocacy too.
Yeah.
But it's hard to, I remember the first like month at home without her, and I did not want to clean out her medical cupboard. And you'd think as a medical mom that, you know, the central lines and the IV supplies and the TPN bags and the ostomy pouches would be a source of trauma. And for me, it was like, no, she thrived with those.
Yeah.
She needed those for a time in her life that meant she was at home going to school having fun.
Yeah.
And it was really hard to take those out, put those away, get rid of them, clean the cupboard out, to open up the cupboard now and not see her syringes or her medication bins. You know, and it got less and less of that after her transplant, but just it was a symbol of like, she's here still, she's thriving. It wasn't a trauma symbol in my case. So that was really hard part of going from a medical mom to a bereaved mom.
Yeah. A huge
Yeah.
transition, especially when
Yeah.
it's your entire personality, it's who you
Yeah.
are, it's your
Yeah.
identity, it's
Yeah.
all of these things.
Yeah.
How was, like, I'm navigating child grief here as well, but how was
Yeah.
that in your home, like trying to walk Waylon through that, well, also trying to walk yourself?
Yeah. You mean like coming back home without
Just,
Bella?
yeah.
Yeah, so he was with my husband's mom and dad, and he's been able to have such a special bond with them because he spent many summers and months with them when Lal and I would have to take Bella back to hospital. And so of course he was with them when we were in Toronto end of May all the way to July 14th when she passed away. And so he was with grandma and grandpa, and that's where we came back to their place when we got back into Saskatchewan, and had to let him know that she's gone and she's not coming back. That was like beyond difficult. And we thankfully, you know, we had our family there. We had grandma and grandpa there. We had auntie and uncle there, and some cousins to help him through that, because that was traumatic and hard for him to understand that. And that was a real hard band-aid to pull off.
Yeah.
And then
too, for
coming
you
home.
guys being so
Yeah.
far away when
Yeah,
she did pass, right?
we really, it was, but like, I don't know if this is common with a lot of other bereaved parents, but it was really hard to come home.
Oh,
We avoided home for as long as we could.
yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, it was just really hard to be here. We went to BC, we went to Alberta, we stayed at his parents for a while. It was so hard to come home. Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
amazing that you had the resources to be able to take your
Yeah.
time, right? And
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
what would you say? What would be your biggest piece of advice to a family facing the medical parent life? Aside from stay positive. Because that's amazing
Oh,
in itself.
yeah. Yeah. For a medical parent,
Mm-hmm.
I would say try your best to find the energy to find us. That was major for me. And so I tried, I know as a medical parent, you don't have the energy. It's like, no, Kyla, we don't have energy. What
Mm-hmm.
is this energy you speak
Yeah,
of?
what is that word?
And so, because I know that, I was like, I want to be that medical parent that seeks you out, but I'm not able to find everyone. But if you can at all, find other ones like you. Find us,
Yes.
reach out, message them. It means so much for me to go into my DMs or my emails and have a medical mom reach out and be like, "Can you help me with this?" or "You did help me with this and this is why." There's a comfort and a healing in that like none other. And if you could just muster up any sort of ability to reach out and find those people, it's everything you're going to need for a while.
That's exactly what this space is, right? And I'm sure
Yeah.
you find that with your podcast too. It's like
Yeah.
being that voice in the middle of the night when you maybe necessarily don't have somebody else to call. And
Yeah. Yeah.
if we're not already following you in the 7 million, how do we find you?
Yeah, so my TikTok, where I love to still share some fun memories with my Bella. Waylon is taking a liking to doing some funny videos with me.
Oh.
Once in a while I'll get Lyle in there, but it's tricky.
Not surprising.
Not surprising. But of course, like,
Maybe if you could get paid for it, he'd be more willing.
yeah. Yeah.
Come on, Canada.
Yeah, come on, Canada. You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube at Kyla CT. So that's my name plus my initials. Pretty simple. Kyla CT. On everything, basically. The only one that's not is Facebook. Facebook is Bella Brave.
Yeah.
And I really just don't want to change it because it's been that for so long. I feel like it would just be confusing if all of a sudden it's Kyla CT.
Yeah. No way.
So I'm like,
it's another
no.
way for her to live on, right?
Yeah. We'll leave that as is. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
OG. Our Facebook is the OG. And then my podcast, Beyond Brave.
Beyond Brave. And
You
the
can find
googly
me.
eyes. I've been looking
My
at them
googly
the whole
eyes.
time.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with that. And I
Yeah.
just realized that your name is Kyla and Bella.
Yeah. Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
Well, thank you for taking time out of your Friday night to connect with me. And
Of course.
I mean, I'm not too far from you, so this is so cool to connect with someone
know.
that's so close.
Are you near Saskatoon or in
Yeah,
Saskatoon?
I just did a keynote in Saskatoon like
Yes.
a month ago.
Yes. Okay. So I was like I'm like trying to learn more. I was like, oh my goodness, I need to get on here and learn some more. And then I realized that I didn't follow you back on TikTok yet. So I'm like, oh, embarrassing.
I only have 7,000, Kyla, okay? Like, get it together.
Oh my goodness.
That's so funny. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being here. I
course.
appreciate you so much. And
Yeah.
I look forward to everything else that you're going to do as an advocate, as, Bella's mom, just living for her. It's such a beautiful thing, and everything you're doing is so amazing.
Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity to share our
Of
story. I haven't
course.
had a chance to share like this in a little while, and I miss it. And I'm just so thankful for that opportunity to carry on her legacy and continue to
Yes.
talk and and hopefully help anyone out there that's needing this right now.
I have to be honest, I was on Main Street Jasper when you replied to me, and I may have screamed and jumped up and down, and my husband was like, what the fuck is happening? And then she replied, he's like, who?
Who are you talking about?
He's like, whatever, chick, do your thing.